What's up, paralegal bosses? Unfortunately, I am having some very difficult technical issues this week. Waiting on a new computer to come because my computer done bit the dust. So what I want to show you this week is a video clip from a live presentation that I did recently in my Paralegal Boss Club Facebook group. We do live presentations about twice a month. So if this is something that you're interested in, then come and join us in the club. You've got to answer some questions, agree to the terms, and you got in. All right, guys, off to the presentation. And so let's just go ahead and dive into what I've got today. So here's what we're going to discuss today. We're going to go over some website and landing page options. What's in a name of naming our business, why analytics matter, and then just some general accounting, timekeeping, invoicing, things like that. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a bookkeeper. Disclaimer right now. But it's necessary things that we have to do. And either if we're not doing it, then we're farming it out. If we're farming it out, it's costing us money. And part of this webinar today is learning how to build a sustainable startup with the ability to sustain us. Whether or not that's exchanging time for what it is we're doing as a product or service, that's completely up to you, or building this sort of evergreen machine and maybe creating forms or doing an e-course or something like that. So we're going to go over those things, and there will be a Q&A at the end. So website options, I'm just going to go over really quickly of these things: Weebly, Wix, Squarespace, and WordPress. WordPress, I don't even have a slide for that because I actually don't recommend it. It's not for the faint of heart. It's open source content. You really have to keep your eye on it. It's very, very, very hands-on. Weebly actually was my number one choice. So I put it number one on this form, which is surprising because I'm a Wix customer and I actually have a Wix affiliate link, which I did not include in this webinar today or masterclass today. And I actually didn't even include it in my last video, and you'll see why here in a little bit. But Wix is the second most expensive option. It does provide more free options, more bang for your buck than what Weebly does. And Squarespace was just last. So here's some Weebly pricing. This is more for people who don't already have websites, and free comes with a lot. Personal is your basic plan. Professional and performance. Performance is going to give you that e-commerce option to give you the ability to collect payments through your website, to be able to invoice through your website. And that's the paying for convenience route that attorneys really like. So here are some Weebly Facts. It offers an e-commerce. It's used through Square. I talk about Square in one of my videos on YouTube and what they charge per transaction, per transfer, but performance is the one that gives you that full e-commerce through Square and with PayPal. It offers SEO guidance and lead capture assistance, which is huge. Now, Wix is partnered with Google, so they help a little bit more in ranking and SEO on Google. Weebly, I'm not actually sure who they're partnered with because all I could find was partnerships with Square. But I think Wix may give you a little bit more bang for your buck in SEO. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but regardless, each one of these platforms does offer SEO and lead capture assistance. So it comes with Square ads no matter what. You can't get rid of them. You can't say where they're at on your page. They get to dictate that. So that's a cost of using Weebly at a free plan. Professional removes all of that, but personal connects to your custom domain, whereas free does not. Wix is the same way. So here's Wix, and actually this is just for a website. We're going to talk about business and e-commerce next, but this actually blew me away because I think since the pandemic, this has drastically changed because it used to be $11 a month, I think was like their biggest price at one of their premium plans. And now it has jumped up to $22 per month. To get all the things that you did get before. And I think that I'm actually grandfathered into one of those older plans. So I was really surprised about this. And it made it second on my list because of it, because it's a less optimal thing to go for if you're, you know, starting this business at a lower budget. So this is what it is for just website. But when you want to do something business and connected to e-commerce, it skyrocketed. And right now I have a business unlimited plan. I pay $19.90 per month for these things, just so you know, to be transparent about myself. And so that's an incredible jump. And I swear this has been since the pandemic. So I haven't promoted Wix at all since I learned this information. Squarespace. Squarespace is actually a really awesome platform, and it's a space that I think I'm going to move towards next. E-commerce plan with this one doesn't have any transaction fees, and that's something to keep in mind with Weebly and Wix. Both of them, regardless of the plan, have transaction fees that they collect when anybody sends you money through that website. And with Squarespace, you don't get that. Only through using the personal do you get charged that 3% fee, but other than that, you don't get charged that. So they also have really, really amazing, strong, dynamic templates that look just awesome. So Squarespace is definitely something that is something you want to maybe scale up to, but I think it's a really amazing platform. And so that's why it made it on my list for sure. So let's talk about creating your brand voice guide and what are the pillars of your voice. What is it that you're trying to convey and say about yourself and get it out there to the community and your potential target audience? So I wanted to be transparent and say what it is that is in my brand guide. I'm relatable and genuine. I'm transparent and honest, and I'm energetic and supportive. You guys have probably seen my YouTube videos. I'm pretty energetic. But that's part of my brand. That's my voice. These are my pillars. And when you kind of hone in on what it is that you want to convey to your target audience, it really helps to define what it is that you need to put in your website. So let's talk more about naming your company and marketing your brand. And some of you already have names for your company. That's awesome. You guys are already out there marketing your brand. First and foremost, we need to talk about naming restrictions, because there are several states out there who will not allow you to have the word paralegal in your name because of the rules that are in place in that state. Michigan being one of them. You can't have paralegal in the name. So does that mean you need to go with virtual services or something else? But look at your state's requirements, look at those rules of professional conduct, look at the paralegal restrictions there in your state, and make sure that you aren't naming your company something that you can't actually legally incorporate later on. You don't want to build this brand for yourself and have this name and create all this content and branding, and then once you've defined proof of concept, it's time to go legit. It's time to incorporate however it is you want to do that. And then you can't use the name that you've used all this time due to the naming restrictions. I recently had a client find that out. I want to say that she lived in Michigan. So make sure that you check that, look at the naming restrictions for your state. So moving on, what's in a name? And I did something a little cute with this one. I said something meaningful, something environmental, something you. So there are lots of things that you can keep in mind when naming your company. Something meaningful is like a tattoo. It's your story, and your story actually means a lot to your target audience. One of my breakout videos on my YouTube that has, I think, around 8,000 views right now was about my story, about how I started out in this industry and scaled my business and my brand to what it is today. And so something meaningful, you can choose something about that. Something environmental, tapping into the conditioned stimulus. That was actually something that I chose. That was the route that I went. Something meaningful, something environmental. It was a little bit of both, but environmental for me was the arrow part of it. You know, when somebody sees an Arrow out there in the public, I want them to remember, oh, I need to contact Arrow for their consulting services, or I need to remember to pay Arrow's invoice, or I need to remember to talk to Misty about that. It was environmental marketing and a way for me to incorporate that environmental aspect into my name. My uncle, who has passed away, owns a bail bondsman company called Arrow Bail Bonds, and he was one of my mentors and an incredible person. And so that was also something meaningful. So I chose something from the environment, something that was meaningful, and that was the way that I marketed my company. Or it could be something you. So you're the brand, you're the product, you're the service, market it as you. Marie Forleo, Sunny Lenarduzzi, Rachel Hollis, all these people created huge brands for themselves using their own name and marketed it. And I mean, they're amazing people and they have amazing brands and amazing companies. So marketing your company. Let's talk first about writing, offering incentives, and thinking local. So blog about your services, blog about your products and the area of law and the struggles that your potential clients face and how it is that you plan to solve their problems, because that's how they're going to find you in the first place. You know, they're not searching your company's name. They may come across it in their search, but that's not actually what they're typing into Google. They're typing their problem into Google and you're hoping that they find you based upon that problem. So you've got to go out there and you've got to dig and find out what their problems are that you need to solve for them. Then offer them incentives to work with you. If you are new and starting out in this business, or you know, maybe you've been here for a minute and stepped out and coming back in, or whatever the case is, get out there, socialize, talk to the people, offer them incentives to work with you, 25% off your first project, or you know, a certain amount off, you know, for in exchange for a testimonial, whatever that is. Find a way to offer some sort of incentive to get your foot in the door and get them working with you, because they're gonna talk. Word of mouth is a very, very powerful thing in this business, in this industry. So socialize, network, join your local bar and get out there and mix it up. Social media, again, it's a very powerful thing. Conversation, checking in, and tagging you. You've got to get out there and have conversation so that you can build that trust that, you know, is that target audience that you want to talk to. And when we talk about organic growth of your business, one of the biggest things that helped with my organic growth in my business was every single time I posted anything on social media, regardless of where it is, I either, or did both, checked in and tagged myself. Checking in does incredible things in the background for your organic growth. Your social media leads to your website, and it's you. So check in every opportunity you get. If anybody is taking a picture of you, you're taking a picture of yourself. I know it's on your social media, but tag yourself and have other people tag you and tag your brand and have them become ambassadors for you and your company. So by having these conversation starters and building this trust, it creates the momentum for this effective lead generation for your company. So post intentionally, post consistently, and always remember to check in and tag yourself to build that organic growth. Okay, so let's talk about networking. Where you really want to network. Now, most people get into this business and think I'm going to dominate every single platform. They stretch themselves thin and they have no idea where their audience is coming from. So I've put together this little slide for Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram at your really great site, regardless if that's a website or a landing page. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But these are the good pillars you want to be involved in. And you're going to post something different on every single one. LinkedIn is your really, really professional one. Instagram is your fun one. And Facebook is a little bit of both. Facebook groups are amazing. I love my Paralegal Boss Club group and everything and everyone in it. But network, Get out there, conversate, mix it up. All right, so what are your clients searching for? We talked about this, and this is part of your SEO plan. You need to create one of those, search engine optimization. So it's time to get sneaky and do a little digging on what your customers' needs are if you don't know them. If you've got this, I'm, one-stop shop and I can do it all, that's a little too vague. And that's fine. That's awesome that you can do it all, but you've got to hone down on your SEO if you're not gaining any traction while you're out there. It's important for you to know what problems that you can solve for your customers. So get out there and do a little digging, because they're telling you what it is, the problems that they're facing. They're on Facebook groups. They're on, the listservs for local bars. They're talking about it. They're out there, and you need to find them and post and say, yeah, I know how to do that. And this is how you do that. Sometimes a simple screenshot can be the biggest lead. So keep that in mind. Get out there and look. So if you don't already know the answer to this question and what they're searching for, then do the digging on LinkedIn, Facebook groups, Upwork, Freelancer, and Fiverr. Upwork, Freelance, and Fiverr. These are 3 places that attorneys are going to and just posting in the masses in what it is that they're needing and what they're looking for. And even if they're not posting for a virtual, remote, or freelance paralegal, they're posting about their needs. So reach out to that attorney and let them know how you can help them. A great FAQ page, just something introducing yourself and how you can solve their problems. Perhaps you're a much cheaper route than bringing somebody in-house. And after this pandemic, a lot of attorneys are feeling that way. So keep that in mind. So start locally, branch regionally. When it comes to your SEO, what I'm seeing a lot of is people are showing me their actual SEO in their website, and we're going through their SEO guide, and they've chosen United States. Okay, that is way too diversified. You are really going to just get gobbled up in the freelance paralegal environment. You have got to narrow down to your area. And then once you dominate that area and you're rolling, you're doing pretty good in that area, then it's time to expand. And your testimonials and word of mouth is going to help you expand, but you've got to hone in on that SEO. Whether or not, that's your state or the Tri-Cities or the Quad Cities or whatever cities or area, you need to hone in and it not be nationally or, United States or anything like that. When attorneys are searching for their problems on Google and they are looking for a virtual, freelance, or remote paralegal, the paralegals that are nearest to them are going to come up first. So if you have United States in your SEO, you're probably not going to come up for them, even though you might be down the street. So hone in on your local area, and when you're scaling and you're branching out, branch regionally. Do you want to get national? Awesome. Yes, of course you do. You want to be nationally known, but we have to start small and scale. And that means starting locally, branching regionally, going nationally. So keep that in mind. Campaigns. So campaigns, targeted traffic campaigns, which is content, and content drives traffic back to you. I see paralegals out there, saying, I've looked on all these different platforms and I just can't gain the traction that I need to get clients. What are you doing? Where are you at? Are you focusing on the behavior of your clients and how they're finding you? And once they're finding you, what are they doing about it? Where are they going? Are they just on your landing page, on your homepage? Where are they going after that? You have to know the behaviors of your clients. So if doors aren't opening for you, you got to create your own freaking doors. And if you can use MailChimp or ClickFunnels or Facebook, or there's a bunch of other platforms that you can use to do that. MailChimp, free option, awesome for creating campaigns, and awesome for creating landing pages. I've got a landing page out there for different things. I've got a landing page for my e-course for Microsoft 365, and I know exactly where my traffic is coming from because of that page. So let's talk about one of the campaigns that I did recently after the huge ransomware that happened in Needles and TrialWorks. You know, I was really promoting my legal case management system for Microsoft 365. And I thought, okay, I'm going to get on Facebook and I'm going to put together a Facebook ad. I'm going to put together a campaign and see where this goes. So that's what I did. I went ahead and I just used a post that I had already done. I didn't really change anything except for the wording of my post to make it possibly a little bit more attractive. So I set my budget for 5 days, $20. That's not much. $20. I, give that to my kids about once a week, maybe once every couple weeks. But $20 isn't bad. And out of that, I got 47 clicks out of 1,500 or so impressions. And my conversion rate, once people land on my website, is pretty good. I can't tell you specifically from this one because I have to cross-reference with several of my platforms, but I got 47 clicks off of this one campaign. So we can dive into this a little bit further into our campaigns and really look where our customers are coming from. So I had more men reaching out to me on this one than I did women. So those are probably your older partners wanting to talk to me for legal case management. And here's where I was being placed. So I was actually on Marketplace on mobile devices the most. So people were finding me the most on Marketplace and then in their newsfeed, but it was on their mobile devices. That's where they're finding me. So that's something that I have to pay attention to. People are finding me on mobile devices, which means that I have to be hyper focused on making sure that all of the content that I put out there is optimized for mobile use. And, people want to be able to scroll. Nobody wants to, swipe left and right just to, make sure that they can see the whole page. So I want to make sure that everything's optimized mobilely, but you can see where other people were finding me in this campaign for those 47 clicks as well. So connect your analytics because analytics matter. Google Analytics, Facebook Pixel, Linktree. When you're in the know, you can grow. I've said that multiple times across multiple videos, but analytics matter. If you have no idea where your customers are coming from, then you have no idea if what you're doing works. And if what you're doing is not driving traffic back to your website and it's not getting customer calls and you're not getting email, then you got to pivot. But the only way that you're going to know that is by looking at your analytics. So connect Google Analytics to your website, connect to Facebook Pixel, get on Linktree, it's free. But find out where your traffic is coming from and then find out the behavior of the traffic once they land on your site. Again, going back to that breakout video that I had about telling my story. You have to be able to ride that break. I say that, create the content and then ride that break. So I had to ride that break of my story for a little while because that's what was working. And then my legal case management stuff took off and I had to ride that break for a while. I'm still riding that break right now because that's a lot of my business right now. But you have to look at your analytics to know where you're going. Otherwise, you're just shooting in the wind and throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks and hoping that you get a call. And you have a lot more control than that once you really look at your analytics. I tell people that your first year, it's going to be your testing phase. It really, really is. What I thought I was going to start out this business with is not where I landed today. It has evolved in different ways and it will, but ride what works and, scale from there. So super important, obviously, to start collecting feedback and testimonials. So we want to build the trust and collect those testimonials because that's going to help us generate the effective leads for our company. Word of mouth. gosh, you guys know that these attorneys get out there and talk. Paralegals get out there and talk. And it's really important to collect that feedback and start collecting that feedback right away. I had someone get on a call with me and she was like, well, I can't collect any feedback because I don't have any customers and I'm just starting this business. True, you are just starting your business. However, you're not just starting your career. And there are plenty of people I'm sure that you have worked with in the past that can write some sort of testimonial or reference, or maybe some friends, you know, that can do that and write some sort of testimonial or something like that. But you need to get those testimonials. You have to get that feedback. You have to feature it somewhere on your Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or website or wherever. But testimonials are, you know, a really, really great way to build that trust and gain those customers. If they're not seeing any testimonials, they're not seeing any reviews, then they're pretty reluctant to work with you because they don't want to be your guinea pig. So don't treat them as if they were, and don't act as if they were. Get some testimonials, get some feedback, and start building that trust with your potential audience. So a satisfied customer is the best business strategy of all. So what to charge? This is probably the number one question that I get from people is, what do I charge? And that's really, really difficult for me to answer because I have no idea, nothing about your market. I know nothing about your market. You know, I don't always know where you live because, you know, you've just said, hey, I've got this project and what am I gonna charge? And so I don't know that. So here's what I tell people. Do your research and know what it is that you're worth. And in order to do that, you've got to get out there and do the research. And you can. Upwork, Fiverr, freelancer.com. There are a lot of freelancers out there promoting their services and charging for their services and being very transparent about what they're charging for their services. So get out there. Start creeping on other people's stuff and see what they're doing and see what they're charging for it, and gauge where you're at in your business and you know, whether or not that's something that you can offer at that price point, or can you offer more and how, and so you know you can charge more. But you've got to figure that out on your own. Go to payscale.com and figure out what paralegals are making in your area. Cross-reference with Upwork, Fiverr, freelancer.com. Take a look at those freelancers that are posting on those websites and then figure out what it is that you need to charge. If you're not getting any business based on what you think you're charging, then offer some incentives. You're not going to know though. The only way that you're going to know if your customers are reluctant about your charges is if you have analytics and understand the behavior of your customers. Are they getting to your homepage first, and then they're getting to your services page, and then they're getting to your terms page, and then they're stopping? So if you understand the behavior of your clients, then it kind of helps you hone in on what it is that you need to focus on to gain, you know, the client's trust, and to make sure that they click that checkout button, or to make sure that they click that book me button, to have that consultation with you. You wanna be as transparent as you can, but charge what you're worth. You know, don't give it away if you don't have to. Definitely just get out there, do your research. If you're starting out, consider the freebies in exchange for testimonials, or alternatively offer a discount rate as an initial offer or sign up bonus. So big one, track your time, people. Good God, by spreadsheet, by OneNote, by software, wherever it is you want to do that, you have to track your time. Spreadsheet, you can use Excel, you can use Google Sheets, you use a Word table. If you're using OneNote, sections are your chapters, pages are your pages within that chapter. So create a section for your client, and then have pages for every single month, and track your time. Software, TimeSolve is my #1 recommender right now. It's $19.95 per month. It's the cheapest option. that I come up with that really integrates well with services that we're using. Outlook being, you know, a main email provider for us, so we can turn those email and calendar entries into billable, trackable time. But you have to track your time. I have this hourglass over here on the side, and time just kind of trickling out of it, because if you're not tracking your time and something happens and I don't know, you lose your documentation, or you lose access to email, something, you're going to lose it. I had a paralegal recently. She lost access to the emails. She lost an entire month of her time. She has no way of knowing what it is that she really did other than notes that she took, and she lost it. I have no idea how she's going to bill for a month's worth of time because she didn't track it. So Charlotte, you've been using Billings Pro for Mac, and it's free. So far, so good. Thank you so much for letting us know. Billings Pro for Mac is a free option out there, guys. Thank you so much, Charlotte. So track your time, guys. Figure out a way to do it and do it. Do it in real time. Don't wait to do it at the end of the week or at the end of the month. Just keep track of your time in real time, because you just never know. So it's just best to keep track of your time. So after you keep track of your time, you got to create that invoice. There's multiple ways of doing that. TimeSolve, another one, is a great way to create an invoice using that trackable time. Charlotte, does Billings Pro also offer an invoicing? And if so, is it free? Just so we can let everybody know in the event they're using a Mac as well. So for my invoicing, I actually use PayPal. I create a timesheet. I attach it to my PayPal invoice, and I send that PayPal invoice out in a link that I send in an email, as well as an attached PDF. So that's an attached PDF of the PayPal invoice and the timesheet. PayPal Square has limitations, the character limitations in their invoicing. So attorneys need you to be detailed in what it was that you did. It's not really viable to have a complete description within Square or PayPal. So I just attach a really detailed timesheet. I've never had an issue with any of the attorneys I was working for. But that's something that you can do when you're just starting up and you don't have software that you pay for yet to track your time or bill your time. So there is third-party software that is available. Sorry guys, I'm getting hoarse. So accounting is next. Whether you do it every day, every 3 days, once a week, gosh, please don't do it once a month. You've got to do it. You've got to keep track of your accounting. You can off-source this. I can't wait to off-source this one day. Or you can do it yourself, but it has to be done regardless. You have to do your accounting. And when you're running a business, there's a whole lot that you have to account for. And it really, as you scale, it really just builds. And for me, it's gotten to a point where I have to allocate several hours, you know, on a Sunday just to do my accounting. And again, it's the reason why I'd love to, you know, off-source this at some point, but scan all your receipts. Your receipts are going to fade. And I kick myself in the butt for not scanning receipts early on when I bought some stuff and have some warranties. But you have to scan your receipts, because those receipts will fade. And then when it comes time to tax time, you can't use them because you can't prove the expense. And there were probably other ways I could have gone about that, but it's just frustrating. So be sure to scan all your receipts and save all those PDF invoices. Linktree. I get an invoice every single month from Linktree. It comes into my email. I know it's there. I know it's in my email, but God forbid something happened to my email and I didn't save the document and the IRS asked me for supporting documentation. I don't want to reach out to Linktree in order to get that documentation, only because they are in Australia and it's probably going to take a while to get that documentation. So just save the PDF, save the invoices when you get them right away. Keep excellent records. Excellent, excellent records. If you are going out to eat and you're talking business and you say, oh, hey, I'm going to use this as a tax write-off, write on the back of the receipt what it was that you spoke about, because when the IRS comes asking you, you need to have an explanation. Have it there on the back of your receipt. If you're scanning your receipts and you're saving your receipts, bring it up on your PDF application and type it up what you talked about during that dinner, so that when it's time to write it off, please do, then you have some sort of a documentation on what it was that you did. So remember to itemize all of your charges in your accounting program. If you're using things like PayPal or Square or Kartra or some other third-party solution to process payments, each one of those comes with a processing fee, maybe a transfer fee, maybe a transaction fee, but allocate for them. So I allocate for my entire amount that I billed, and then I have a separate allocation for what I paid for that PayPal fee, because that PayPal fee is tax deductible. Again, I'm not an accountant. I don't work for the IRS, but make sure that you itemize all of those charges. Which is why it's so important to keep track of your accounting, however it is that you keep track of it. Get a bookkeeper, get an accountant. Usually these people are separate. I have interviewed, bookkeepers who have said, I will do your books, but I will absolutely, unequivocally will not do your taxes. So I have found historically that a lot of times those things are separate. Bookkeeper and accountant are not synonymous. So get a bookkeeper, get an accountant if you have gotten to this point where you are already scaling. Set aside at least, I should have put this in there, at least 30% of every single transaction you have, set it aside for your taxes. You guys, you're going to have to pay taxes. These attorneys are probably going to ask you to, fill out some tax forms in order for them to generate payment for you. So set aside the money so that when the tax bill comes, when it's time to pay your taxes, you have the money there sitting aside waiting to pay your tax bill. I have worked with independent contractors who have not paid their tax bill, and I will get a form from the IRS telling me, specifically prohibiting me from paying that vendor, and instead the money that I was to pay that vendor has to go to the IRS instead. So don't be that person, because if you are, I guarantee you the firm's not going to work with you again. So set aside the money for the taxes and pay it when the time is due, which next, pay your taxes. You have to pay your taxes, guys. Not a tax accountant, but you have to pay them. All right, so let's go into beware of those hidden costs. There are hidden costs. I was surprised by them too. Linktree is in Australia. And so for every single transaction I have with them, I incur a Visa International transaction fee. That fee is 0.01% of the full transaction. It's not a whole heck of a lot, but when you're working with people in other countries, I'm working with people in Amsterdam, I'm working with people in Finland, I'm working with people in Oman, I'm working with people in Australia. And so for all of those different things, I have to pay international transaction fees for those. And that's a hidden cost. I actually didn't account for that when I started doing that. And it's something to keep in mind when it comes to your accounting. Transaction and transfer fees, we kind of talked about that in the slide before, because you're going to have them. It's kind of like using your ATM card at an ATM that is not your bank. You're going to incur a fee. There's going to be a transaction fee. There's going to be a transfer fee. You're going to have a transaction fee when somebody pays you through PayPal, and then you're going to take that money from PayPal and maybe transfer it to your business checking account. Maybe it's not connected yet. And so there's a transfer fee for that as well. So you've actually just paid twice. You've paid a transaction fee and a transfer fee. Right now, PayPal is not charging any transfer fees. Now, I thought that they were going to stop that during the month of May, but they haven't because I just transferred money yesterday. Keep that in mind. That's something that, you know, when you're charging for your services, if you're having to pay a transaction fee and a transfer fee, keep that in mind. Maybe that's something that you can pass off to your clients. I'm not currently passing that off to my clients right now. And that is a COVID special that I'm running, but you're going to have to allocate for that. And luckily these sort of things are tax deductible in most situations. Sales tax and business checking. You know, if you have a business checking account, you've, you know, come out of PayPal and you've incorporated, you've got your LLC, you know, and it's time to open up that business checking account. You've got your EIN number, you're going to have a business checking fee. And that's something that you're going to have to account for. Sales tax. Not every state is created equal. Not every state requires you to charge a sales tax for your services and products. So you're just going to have to check with your state and find out if your state requires that. So you're going to have to do that research. Okay, so in conclusion, hustle and heart will set you apart. And I've said this many times in many videos, but you've got to get out there and you've got to open doors and you've got to bang on doors or knock on doors and talk to people and get social and put your products and your services out there, however it is that you're doing that, and make sure that you are the superhero in that attorney's story, in that law firm's story. However it is that you've got to be that superhero, you've got to be that person who came to their rescue. Did they have a whole bunch of Word documents that took them forever to fill out and you transformed them into fillable PDFs that just made their life easier? Was that a paralegal task? No. Was it something that can make you money? Hell yeah. So, you know, that was it. That's all that attorney needed. And that paralegal was that person's superhero. These little things, you know, that these attorneys need, and they're just not getting it in-house, or maybe they can't afford somebody in-house. You've got to be their superhero that comes in and maybe Nanny McPhee's the shit out of this and, you know, gets in there and just transforms their world. And, you know, I work with a lot of virtual and freelance paralegals who start working with an attorney, and the attorney is very reluctant going into that circumstance. And maybe it's their, you know, first time. And this paralegal comes in and just freaking wows them. And they sing their praises to every other attorney that they know on Facebook forums, on listservs for their local bar. And they serve as your ambassadors because you were the hero that came in and saved them. I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me with my Microsoft 365 system, where someone has posted in a Facebook forum and said something about me, and, you know, they become your brand ambassadors. So be the superhero in everybody's story. All right, guys, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, but I want to open it up. I want to open it up to Q&A. See if you guys have any questions, and feel free to voice a question if you want and unmute yourself. Let me see when you let me know when the next time you discuss Microsoft 365. Yes, Tiffany, thank you. I will let you know. I've got to have another webinar for Microsoft 365 because there's some updates. Microsoft 2020 just happened 9 days ago. I was so excited about that. I'm so geeked out about that because there's awesome things coming. So I can't wait to do another video, another webinar on that. So, all right, guys, well, we got this in the hour that I allocated. And if I don't have any questions, Charlotte, again, thanks for the information regarding Billings Pro. Laura, shout out to Laura. I used to work with Laura back in the day in Chicago. So thanks, Laura, for joining me. And all right, guys, I'm going to end this. Oh, Laura, are you saying hi?
Hey, hi.
Hi. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Yeah. And so this is being recorded. So I do just want to say that, Laura, I can't wait for you to come in and do some presentment yourself, because
Yeah, I can't.
you've got some mad skills.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I can't wait to present as well for whatever you need.
Yeah. So for those who are going to see this in the Paralegal Boss Club group, Laura Smith is an amazing trial paralegal. She's got amazing technology trial paralegal skills. She's going to come in here and do a presentation for us, and I can't wait. Thank you so much for joining me today, Laura. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up, and maybe we will do a live Q&A in the Paralegal Boss Club group later on towards the end of next week. Towards the end of next week is Freelancer Weekend. So I'm going to invite everyone to publish their content, publish their websites, and get some stuff in the Paralegal Boss Club group so we can see it, and so we can help each other out and lift each other up, and be this wonderful community that I know all of us can be. So have a great rest of your day, an awesome week ahead of you, and I'll see you guys back here on the next one. Mwah. Bye, guys.